After another brutal day for the cloud stocks, I'm going to highlight one that's held up surprisingly well. It's called Anaplan, which is a software-as-a-service platform that helps businesses with forecasting and financial planning. Compared to the rest of the NASDAQ, it barely got dinged today. Why? Because Anaplan is one of the less obvious pandemic plays. Their software helps businesses do financial planning and analysis, where you make a forecast, then revisit it again and again and again as you get more data, which is something, having run a company, I can tell you is the holy grail of trying to figure out how you're doing. So how does that relate to the COVID-19 economy? We found out when Anaplan reported a true blowout quarter last month, phenomenal guidance for both the next quarter and the full year. This is a ridiculously uncertain environment, so when the financial planning guys try to make forecasts, well, they need all the help they can get. No wonder the stock roared in response. Don't take it from me, though. Let's check in with Frank Calderoni. He's the bankable chairman and CEO of Anaplan. Get a better sense of how his company's managed to thrive in this environment. Mr. Calderoni, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you, Jim. Great to be back.
Well,
Good
Frank,
to see you.
I got to tell you, having run a company and started companies, I was always trying to figure out how to have an accurate forecast rather than just a rosy forecast. How does Anaplan, in a time when we really don't know and most companies are suspending guidance, help the CEOs themselves and the board figure out what's going on in their own company?
So Jim, I think all companies have been through a lot over the last 8 months with COVID. And I think from a planning perspective, it's really proven to organizations the importance of resiliency. You know, there's so much change, and how that affects your business is extremely important. And being able to respond accordingly is equally as important. And what we've seen over the last 8 months is that companies are looking for more agility and really kind of looking at how their business is performing and how their business will perform, and more reflective of the future rather than the past. And that's where Anaplan kind of comes into play, kind of working with them to really kind of provide that agility and how they can work on their business, and also the alignment, not only from a financial perspective, but aligning finance throughout the operations so they can respond to changes in their supply chain, changes in their human capital, changes in their sales organization, so they can, again, adapt to the environment.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about changes in the supply chain. One of you say you believe you're the leader in the spirits and cosmetics verticals. Okay, in the spirits business, which I play in, I know that there's been lots of supply, everything from like Mexico not wanting to have the beer to a problem with no glass. You have to go to China or Colombia. How can Anaplan take those inputs and make it so a CEO can make better choices?
So a good thing, that's a great example when you think about spirits, or even from a grocery perspective, and how stores are really looking at, organizations looking at planning around their stock of the right types of groceries. Having more intelligence around what's happening in the environment is critical. And one of the things that Anaplan does, and we just announced an enhancement to this last week called Plan IQ, is we bring more intelligence into the forecasting process. So not only internal information, but information that's coming from your surroundings, your demand, what's going on in the market, what's happening with the overall population of your consumers. Bringing that into your forecasting allows you to get more accuracy so that you can then predict better about how best you need to respond, and then have the right goods, in the case of spirits or in the case of groceries, have the right goods available in what's needed. And I think what we've seen in the last number of months is there's been so much change in both of those examples that companies have had to respond. With our Plan IQ announcement that we had last week, it's a combination of a combined technology with Amazon. We brought the Amazon forecast into our product that brings the capability of this external data into your planning. And we've seen proven with some of the customers that we've worked on early on, a 50% improvement in their ability to accurately forecast the outcomes. So therefore, they can have, again, the right type of product available in the marketplace at the right time.
Well, you've got some great partners. We know that you've partnered with the companies that tell companies how to handle digitization, EY, Accenture, Deloitte. You just mentioned Amazon, but I think this Google partnership has got me very excited because it's here and now.
Yeah, well, so first, Google's been a customer of Anaplan's now since 2016.
Wow, okay.
And it's a great testament to our planning platform, where they're using it in finance, they're using it in sales, they're using it in supply chain, in operations. And so they truly have used it across the platform. And then more recently, what we've done is we've actually taken them as a customer and brought them into the Google Cloud so that we can have our product, our platform reside in the Google Cloud. And that's provided them with much more breadth and scalability. And that's part of the partnership. So it's really kind of looking at the ability for us to take our software platform, go into a public cloud environment, give our customers much more choice, scalability, as well as intelligence. Do things with partnering. You mentioned a couple of our partners like Deloitte and Accenture, working with them along with, in this case, Google Cloud, to be able to give our customers a much more extensive solution.
All right, so let's say you're on the board, you're in the audit committee, and your CEO comes in and says, listen, it's going to be a great year. And the company has Anaplan. Would one of those board members be much more informed and say, now, wait a second, maybe you should be budgeting the trend, or worse, this is not good enough that you come in with a rosy forecast. We're not buying it. We're looking at the Anaplan numbers, and they don't make sense.
I mean, Jim, the good thing, what I would say, with any board or any type of, an executive session like that, the key thing about planning, which I would bring up, is it's got to be agile. It's got to be flexible to the environment. And if things change, like in your scenario, if things change, you want to be able to pivot. And the beauty about Anaplan, which is different from anything else in the past, is you're allowed to you're given the ability to do various scenarios. And you can do different types of what ifs, and you can do an A scenario, B scenario, C scenario, and know as you continue to progress down that path, you can make some modifications. And again, going back to what I said, bringing more intelligence into it gives you more factors that allow you to get better at your predictions and therefore better at running your business. And then you can pretty much orchestrate the right financial performance. And if you have some challenges in your financial performance, you can then make the corrections and make those corrections soon and be able to kind of move in a different direction to solve that.
Well, I wish people knew when I'm listening to you that you may not understand, but most companies before Anaplan were really kind of winging it. And winging it doesn't work anymore. So, Frank, I think you got a great product here and a great company. Thank you so much for coming on Mad Money. Always good to see you.
See you again. Thank you.
That's Frank Calderoni, the CEO of Anaplan. Having served on boards and having been CEO, I wish I had the product. Mad Money's back here for the break.